Wishing you all a very good morning. Welcome to the inaugural edition of Yuktika, the first ever media conclave of IIM Kashipur. I, Sarika Chauhan, with my co-host Vaidik Ghorpade, on behalf of the Media and Public Relations Committee, welcome you all to Yuktika, the Media Conclave 2025. Yuktika comes from the root word yukti, meaning logic, reasoning, and intelligent thinking. Yuktika represents ideas that are thoughtful, well crafted, and rooted in clarity. IIM Kashipur has always believed in bridging academic learning with real world relevance. With the media and digital ecosystem transforming rapidly, Yuktika aims to help students understand the evolving world of content, communication, careers, and productivity. Before we begin, let us take a moment to experience IIM Kashipur's journey through a short introductory video.
The Indian Institute of Management, Kashipur, is a second-generation IIM set up by the Government of India in 2011. In all these years, the Institute stands true to its vision and mission. The Indian Institute of Management, Kashipur, is a second-generation IIM set up by the Government of India in 2011. In all these years, the Institute stands true to its vision and mission. Our vision is to be an institute of eminence that fosters management research and education and develops leaders for creating positive societal impact in a changing world. And the mission of IIM Kashipur is to create and disseminate knowledge through applied and interdisciplinary research and practices in emerging areas of management. IIM Kashipur is committed to its four core values of collegiality, transparency, green consciousness, and proactive engagement with all the stakeholders. IIM Kashipur has a sprawling campus of 200 acres, situated in one of the most beautiful locations in India. The lush green campus is nested in the lap of the Himalayas in the state of Uttarakhand. The institute enjoys the nearby industrial belt, having more than 180 ventures. This strategic geographical positioning provides a vantage point for IIM Kashipur when it comes to learning by doing through regular industry interaction and live projects. IIM Kashipur is equipped with all the modern facilities ranging from the technologically advanced classrooms to hostels, providing all the amenities and infrastructure such as gymnasium, library, amphitheater, other sports facilities, and shops for daily requirements. The Institute offers various programs that are MBA Analytics, Executive MBA, Management Development Program, PhD, and Executive MBA Analytics. We have continuously looked to cater to what the industry demanded. The latest edition of MBA Analytics in January 2020 in our course offerings is a testament to that. Our executive MBA program at Pragati campus has kept abreast with the evolving trends at institutions such as first-generation IIMs. IIM Kashipur has a mix of permanent and visiting faculty to offer a holistic learning experience in various domains. There are 40 plus permanent faculties who are some of the best professors and research minds. The Institute has also been able to bring in subject matter experts from leading companies and other institutions as visiting faculties to equip the students with the best industry practices and perspectives. The Institute has established 4 centers of excellence that are Center of Excellence on Public Policy and Government, Design Innovation Center, Foundation for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development.
Friend is a startup incubation center at IIM Kashipur, operating since 2018. In last 6 years, we have supported more than 200 startups in starting a new business and scaling up their existing solution.
Kashipur, a completely student-driven campus, from placements to functional work, from academic to non-academic activities. There is a student program for each discipline. Being a part of such student bodies and event-specific teams, students get first-hand experience of time management, working in a team, situation handling, and managing positive relationships with the administration. IIM Kashipur has secured several times with leading management institutes across the world, including Spain, France, Denmark, Greece, Israel, South Korea, Thailand, UK, Thailand, and many more. IIM Kashipur also offers a short-term exchange program, STEM. We are indebted to our students and alumni for maintaining the legacy of the Institute. With their determination, we have been granted the reputed Acris AACSB membership. We aim to achieve new heights with every new batch of students. We celebrate the ups and downs of the journey of our beloved students and would like to wish them luck for upcoming years.
Today, as we gather under the theme Media Careers and Brand Influence, navigating new talent needs and trust in the digital age, we are not just discussing trends, we are decoding the future. IIM Kashipur is renowned for its commitment to academic excellence and industry relevance. Speaking of which, leadership is an integral aspect. As a team managing media and public relations, we function on one such firm shoulders. Now, I would like to call upon the Chair MDRC and the Chief Administrative Officer of IIM Kashipur, retired Colonel Ajay Kumar Upadhyay, sir, to address it.
Good morning, all of you. Our distinguished guests, our respected colleagues, member of industry, dear faculty members, and our bright students. A very warm welcome to all of you. It's a great pleasure to stand before you today and welcome you to Yuktika 2025, the first edition of our media conclave at IIM Kashipur. We are truly honored to host such an inspiring gathering of media professionals, thought leaders, academicians, and future managers at one room. The world of media and communication is evolving at an extraordinary pace. Digital platforms, changing audience behavior, and the growing importance of trust and authenticity have transformed the way organizations communicate and connect. In this context, it becomes vital for our students not only to study the changes, but to learn directly from those who are actively shaping the industry. The conclave has been created precisely with this objective. Yuktika represents our vision to create a strong bridge between industry and academia. It is our first step towards building a platform where ideas, experiences, and perspective can be openly shared. Our aim is to help our students understand how modern media influences perception, builds credibility, and shapes decision making in today's digital world. We sincerely hope to make the conclave a strong and meaningful tradition in the years to come. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our speakers for taking their time out of their busy schedule to be with us today and share their insights. I also deeply appreciate the efforts of the coordinators from the media and the uh, public relation committee and other student bodies whose dedication and teamwork have brought this idea from vision to reality. To our students, I encourage you to make most of this opportunity. Listen carefully, ask thoughtful questions, and engage openly. I wish all of you a highly meaningful, enriching, and memorable experience today. Thank you and welcome you to Yuktika 2025.
Thank you so much, sir.
Media today is not merely produced, it is lived, shared, and co-created. Brands don't just sell products anymore, they build relationships, values, identities, and trust. And that brings us to the first panel of the day, that is, bridging the talent divide, closing the gap between media industry needs and business through graduates.
Our first panel gathers voices who operate at the strategic intersection and media transformation. Where the language of brand grows more human, credibility must be earned in real time, and a new generation steps forward towards media and digital management. They stand at the center of that change, shaping emerging talent, cultivating trust in a crowded digital ecosystem, and empowering the next wave of media. We are now moving to introducing our esteemed panelists. Now, I would like to introduce to the first panelist, Ms. Cherryn Dogra. She is Chief Marketing Officer, Bharti Real Estate. Our first panelist is a leader whose work exemplifies the power of clarity, strategy, and brand purpose. With a distinguished career in building brand identities that truly resonate, Ms. Dogra brings deep expertise in insight-driven communication, crafting stories rooted in consumer understanding and strategic foresight. Today, she brings to Yuktika her experience as a marketing trailblazer who understands not only how brands speak, but how they connect, endure, and evolve. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Cherryn Dogra, the Chief Marketing Officer at Bharti Real Estate. Now, I would like to call our CEO, sir, to felicitate her. Our next guest is someone who has shaped narratives on screens across the country. She has been creative force behind acclaimed projects across film, television, and OTT. Her work reflects a rare ability to understand both artistic storytelling and the pulse of the audience. With her dynamic leadership and sharp creative intuition, she has helped develop compelling narratives that have moved, entertained, and inspired millions. We are honored to welcome Ms. Pragati Deshmukh, a celebrated writer. Next, we have with us
a strategist who stands at the intersection of communication, purpose, and cutting-edge technology. Her work reflects a deep commitment to building stories that matter, stories that not only engage audiences but also earn their trust. She brings invaluable insights on the future of public relations and the evolving skill set of young professionals that we must embrace. Let's welcome Ms. Pratishtha Kaura, Associate Vice President at Redefining. Now, I would like to call our user to invite her.
Our next panelist brings a global perspective on talent, communication, and the power of narrative in shaping organizations. We are delighted to have Mr. Pragati Deshmukh, Global Talent Acquisition Program Specialist. Mr. Deshmukh operates at the heart of employer branding, talent engagement, and strategic communication.
We have with us a storyteller whose words cut across genres, platforms, and industries. Please welcome Ms. Shanaka Kulkarni, award-winning author and founder of Redefining. She brings a rare blend of literary depth and strategic brand thinking. Her debut book, Orenda, on national recognition, and her work with leaders, startups, and organizations has helped shape narratives rooted in authenticity. Thank you, ma'am.
Our next panelist is a leader whose work sits at the heart of India's digital entertainment revolution. She is a seasoned media marketing professional who has shaped some of the country's most influential digital branding campaigns. With rich experience across leading entertainment houses, she has consistently demonstrated an exceptional ability to understand audiences, anticipate cultural shifts, and craft campaigns that resonate. Today, she brings to Yuktika her invaluable insight on what it takes to build compelling media experiences and how young professionals can thrive in this rapidly changing landscape. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Apoorva Mehandiratta.
Now, let's welcome the moderator for the panel, who holds a PhD from the Indian Institute of Management Kohikode in Quantitative Methods and Operation Management. Before pursuing his doctoral work, he served as an assistant professor at National Institute of Technology, Jalandhar. Beyond research, he has authored multiple impactful teaching case studies with Emerald and Abbey Publishing. He currently serves as the chairperson of the EMBA program. With his analytical lens, let's welcome Dr. Abhishek Srivastava.
Welcome, Dr. Srivastava. We would like you to further guide this conversation with depth, clarity, and intellectual rigor. The stage is over to you, sir.
Thank you. So thank you very much, and a warm welcome in this panel discussion. So I'll start with very light mode. So first, it's truly a pleasure to welcome you all in Yuktika Media Conclave 2025. Today we get gathered at an important intersection where media, career branding, technology, and talent readiness converge. So as the digital world evolves at unprecedented speed, the expectation from young professionals evolve with it. So brands truly operate in a landscape by data, storytelling, influencers, AI, and ever-changing definition of trust. So and business schools, educators and industry leaders all share common questions. And that question is very, very important. So are we preparing students for the world they are about to enter or the world that already passed? And there the media and technology plays very important role where the product positioning or advertising as well as campaign, everything is driven by the media and technology. And this is the era where you can see things are changing really drastically. If you talk about technology or intervention of AI in machine learning, the product positioning, advertisement, as well as the role of media becomes very important, and that's why this panel is very, very critical. So our discussion today aims to bridge that gap. And through the insights of our distinguished panelists, leader from the marketing, media, and brand strategy, we hope to understand what industry-ready talent truly means and how MBA can align with emerging trends and how brands are redefining influence into this creator-driven ecosystem. So I'm delighted to moderate this conversation and I look forward to an engaging, thoughtful, and actionable discussion that our students can take back as a chart their own career path. So let's discuss some guidelines. So obviously I'll be moderating this panel and no doubt we have a very diversified, as I said, diverse panel from from media to technology to AI to brand, everything is there. So it's going to be a very, very insightful and healthy discussion. So I encourage you to ask questions whenever you think, okay, and contribute to this discussion. So with this, I would like to start with a very light question, I'll say, then we'll go deeper into this. So this question could be from anyone. So who think we can just begin, and then rest of you can just chip in. So the first question is, as business schools incline towards core management fundamentals, how can they also stay synchronized with rapidly changing industry tools and trends? And how collaborate with the industry to co-create future-ready talent? So internship could be anything. It could be IT, it could be in marketing and industry. So that's what the question is. If you want, I can repeat it once again. Yeah, please. Thank you.
It's very exciting to be here. I see myself sitting here somewhere just a few years ago, so it feels intimidating, but it's also very exciting at the same time. Before getting into gaps and everything, and the first thought that came to my mind when you said that, I often go back to this question what I learned from my MBA. And I'm going to be very honest, and I don't want to have any filters here. I'm going to be brutally honest. And so many people discuss this, and I'm sure this question would have come to you guys also. Job पे सीख लेते हैं, MBA करने का क्या point है? You can learn everything on the job. Why do you need it? So I tell you honestly, and I have revisited this question, I think, every few years in my career trajectory. What I have learned from my MBA, the first thing, of course, there are multiple things, but the top clear thing that I would say, and this is something I discussed last night at dinner table also, are the stories from so many diverse people here that forms the basis of marketing. To have, like, I'm a Punjabi from North India. My roommate was from Chennai. My best friend was from a Bengali from Calcutta. No research paper, no data insights, no AI, no nothing can teach you about cultural insights than the people sitting right next to you in this room. And what you're going to learn in the 2 years of MBA. And that is something that's going to shape the foundation of your entire career and not in your first 5 years, 10 years, throughout your entire journey. So that's the main thing, because India is so balanced. Every 300 kilometers, your humor changes. Every tier of your city, your aspiration changes, your backgrounds, your upbringings, your anxiety changes. And we are all in the business of storytelling. How do we understand that? Nothing can reach you more than what you already have. And this is not going to change. So no matter industry changes in whatever ways that it does, this is not gonna change. And I'm glad that's not changing. So this is where I want to begin with, and then we can come to the gaps and everything else. Before I get into the gaps, and of course, I'm gonna discuss this, I will just say one thing. And we shouldn't put so much pressure on our curriculum because curriculum can only change at a certain pace, maybe once in few years and everything. But currently our industry is changing literally every few months, sometimes days, sometimes weeks. What worked in January doesn't work right now. So how will you guys ever match up and catch up? All you have to be is emotionally intelligent and work from a place of understanding, interpreting, and then executing. That's my first giveaway, and then there are several other ways.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I was just going to add to this that no matter how many things change, they still remain the same. And that quote I have used more than more than once in my life for sure. It is also that people are at the center of everything that comes to. Like you said about peer learning, I would also like to say that people management as a skill can never be a perfection, no matter how many tools you have. There is Canva today, there's Figma today, but the design of human life is what I would want to focus on. I always say that people are inspired by stories and stories are inspired by people, and that's my favorite cycle.
Thank you so much.
I feel in terms of industry academia collaboration, the one thing that we can really learn from MBA is networking. But what students need to learn from leaders is building relationships. So I think that's the one key which is missing right now. And I think students can definitely benefit out of this entire endeavor.
Thank you so much.
I have a very different perspective, and what I would want to add to what you said. Really happy to be here with the students. I can recall my time in the school and college. One mantra I have gone always with, and that's specifically as because coming from PR, which is more about storytelling, is you know what matters is know and how. How is very easy. Today you can go up, find a tutorial, learn how to do the skills you need to acquire, which is very important, skilling. I keep upskilling every time. We all have to, I'm sure, on the panel here as well. No is the very important part. Often we miss out on that. It's the knowledge. That knowledge is something that you have to continue building on. So age-old method of reading, gaining knowledge doesn't go away. And for that matter, which is why I feel I love the student life. You can do that whenever you would want to, and you have to continue doing that even when you are working. So that's what I would want to.
Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having us here. I think adding to a little bit, and I have a very different experience. I have not done my MBA, confession. But yes, I do remember going back to college, and it has been refreshing to be here. I think with my experience where we create films, we make a lot of digital web shows. I've made television shows. I have directed. I produce. I have also written a book. My second book is up for release next year. So I have been in the business of writing, storytelling, directing, producing, where on set at any given point in time, we are managing a unit of a minimum 200 people. And people are different age, different walks of life. I have had one of my ADs was a lawyer, and he studied law, he practiced for a year, and then he said, "Oh, I want to be a filmmaker." And he came and joined us. It was refreshing. We have a lot of business school pass outs that come to us and work with us in the entertainment industry. I think it's diverse. The core of it is really people management, yes, but how do you manage pressure? And the way the world is going today, pressure is only increasing. We all deal with it at different levels and different form. But that is not changing, and like Apoorva said, that is not going away. So it is very important to understand how we give the pressure. And I think, I 2 nights here have been excellent. The way I have watched all of you strive to make this a successful event, this conclave, the way you worked. I've had some of the youngsters tell me how much, oh, they love working, they're okay with 2 hours of sleep. That excitement, that spark, that dealing with pressure. I can already see you guys do that. And this is something, please do not let go of. Be curious. Whether you work for 15 years, you work for 25 years, or you work for 2 years. Please be curious. That is really important. You have to ask why. How, when, anything will happen. Why? Why is a product being made? Why is a soap made? Why is a film commissioned? Why is an oil product have Jojo by it? I think ask the question why. And be curious and deal with pressure. I think that's the core of it.
Excellent.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Just before I speak, I have a question. How many people in this room have worked before the MBA? Excellent, excellent. So, and how many people feel what you're reading in the books today is something which you have applied in your previous jobs? Quite a few. How many people feel books में कुछ और पढ़ाया होगा तो अच्छा होगा क्योंकि वो प्रॉब्लम थी जॉब्स में? Excellent. So we got the answer in the room. So to answer your question, Dr. Abhishek, what you asked was how can the academic intersection be bettered by the industry intervention?
Yes.
And in very small reply, I can only say there is a lot of difference between what we read in books and what we go through in the real life. So excellently put, Pragati. People who do not have MBA as an experience can also tell you by experience there are so many managerial things, management things we do in our day-to-day life to accomplish what we have to do and to deliver what we are supposed to do. So मेरा सिर्फ इसमें 2 cents, my 2 cents are very simple. One, I think the B schools cannot change the curriculum as put by her correctly, and the industry is changing literally by days. Your curriculum changes by 3 to 5 years span. Your case studies get updated in 3 to 5 years span. Of course, you can't change it. There's a huge dynamic which is involved. But can we look at real life simulations being done more often than before? Where, and I've not seen a single B school, and I'm talking about the top ABCs as well, where there's a cross-functional simulation happening, which means that if there's a marketing case study, it's not a marketing case study. You have a simulation room where it is a finance case study, it's a OB case study, it's a marketing case study. Because let me tell everybody in this room, ये सब अगले 10 साल से 15 साल में CEO बनने के सपने देख रहे होंगे या CEO trajectory में बैठे होंगे. They would all want to become CEO. Let's be very honest here, right? You all have chosen the path to become the CEO, CXO, which is why you are in this room. How will that happen? It will not happen if you put जो सब वो घोड़े के blinders लगे होते हैं ना, marketing वाले blinders लगा के कोई नहीं बनता. You have to have a very open overview. And that open overview will come only if you see the real life situation as a real life problem. To answer your point, maybe more industry interface, more real life problems. और अगर आपकी तरफ से कभी कोई किसी organization को mail जाएगी कि आप हमारे बताइए अपनी problems क्या हैं, हम strategically solve करेंगे. There are 50 queries you will get from 50 organizations that we value. Give those other case studies to them. To let them on the real world. I think that will be helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for wonderful answers. So yeah, adding to that, we also appreciate and we also acknowledge that nowadays we have to work in real time. When the data is also being analyzed in real time, and we used to talk about marketing as segments, targeted segment, but no more segment. It's individuals we can target on that in real time.
Yeah.
If you are, scrolling in Instagram, if you watch a product, immediately you get referral or ads regarding that product. So yeah, and management as a domain is a big challenge. It's not like science. I always say this in my classes. It's highly challenging. So most of you have, you have pointed out that whatever is working, let's say today, maybe after 2 months or 3 months, it's not relevant. So that's true. And we as an institute also we are doing it real time. So we have some programs or some curriculums like experiential learning, where our students they are going and working with the industries. So people are industries are assigning them project, real time project. They are contributing, they are learning, they are dealing with the real problems, and then they are trying to solve those challenges and contributing in that. So it's a course we have included. So experiential learning is a course we have added in our curriculum. So we are doing similarly a lot of things where they can just involve in industry, and because the isolation from academia and industry, it is no more going to work. And I think that the B school are the first which are going to acknowledge this in the management domain. So, yes. So thank you very much. So I'll just summarize what our distinguished panelists they have said about this question. So starting from diversity, learning from diversity is very important, and that's why these schools are known for. If I just see the data of the student, uh, they have different industry experience, different courses, gender diversity, everything. So it's a these bunch of people are very diverse people, and that's why learning from diversity becomes very important if you are going to work in the industry as well. And the people management and skills, obviously, because you have to deal with the people. We are saying that AI, machine learning, but at the end, you cannot completely replace human interaction from that. So that's very important. And building relationships becomes very important. Asking the question how and more about that knowledge you are going to take from the classrooms and your experience. That's very important. Managing pressure and stress very importantly, discussed because nowadays, if you see, there is term called social capital, and social capital is we are human, we cannot live in isolation, we cannot function in isolation. So genetically we are all like to be in a team or in a family or in a group of people. And that's why it's very important to understand that if you are working in isolation, you are dealing with the pressure. You cannot avoid that, whether it's your work or family. You have to deal with the pressure and you have to manage this stress. Because it can affect your growth, your long-term, mental health, and that's what we are talking nowadays. It's a very, very important issue which we are ignoring. Okay, so that's you have to understand how to manage the pressure, and already some pointers have been covered. And be curious. I think that's very, very important. Answer. If you are curious, if you are ready to learn, if you are willing to learn and excel, I think that's the learning is a continuous journey. Everybody knows that. So I'll not discuss much. And adding to real life simulations, and also we are already doing it. And our students are involved in such kind of projects, live projects we are doing. So yeah. And so building on that, I'll go to the next part of discussion. So this one is again related to the marketing. So like rise of data driven marketing has changed everything. Now you see. And when I say data driven marketing, it's individual data because the analysis of data has no constraint. You like we are talking about big data analytics and everything. So amount of data is no more the challenge. So that's why the rise of data driven marketing has changed everything. How have expectation from fresh talent shifted in terms of analytical and creative capabilities. So,
I would like to start.
yeah, please.
I come from a thought where one needs to be overtrained today. What I mean by that is we need a good mix of right and left brain. Okay, when I was doing my MBA, I did not pay attention to the subjects which were not of my interest, and that's very natural for us, right? I struggled with ledgers and balance sheets because I'm an engineer, and finance was difficult for me. But when I'm running my own firm, I had to upskill myself. You know, the skills will come. When we say कि मेहनत कभी waste नहीं होती है, जो भी सिखाया वो कभी waste नहीं होता है. That whole brain approach is very important because it gives you a good balance, and of course it offers you a lot of perspective. And also such individuals are hired quickly in organizations. That whole brain perspective to whatever you do, anything that you do today can be looked at creatively, even if it is technology. There is so much technology based communication that I do on a regular basis, and I have to simplify it for the lay people to understand it, and there lies the creativity. And that's the whole gamut of putting your whole brained self to work, or whatever you want to do in life.
Thank you.
So I work in OPD, I literally live, breathe data. That's what I do. From morning to night, I'm on my dashboards. In fact, right now I got a notification, you can check your dashboard. So that's what we do. But I'm gonna be very honest. You can check your attribution, you can check algorithms, but what if you don't understand aspiration? How far can you go?
Yeah.
So the whole idea is interpreting the data. And today's marketers, at least I would say I was lucky where we had specialists and we had specializations to a degree where we could depend on other people. Now with data being available so easily, the whole aspect of that every marketing person has to be an athlete. He needs to understand data, they need to interpret data, at the same time need to create stuff and not wait for the results and maneuver in between if that's required and make things happen. And that's exactly how Pragati said that you have to be curious, but you also have to be so agile in this entire pressure situation that you work in whole entirety. It cannot be in silos. Data is basically a helping hand. That's all it is. But what's gonna take you further is your ability to interpret it and to understand where the aspirations, anxieties of the people are there. Today in entertainment, I mean, I'm sure content people, I know there are more business people in the room, but like for example, Pragati is a content creator. She creates movies, she takes movies, she acquires movies. How many times she's been told, green light करने से पहले data framework देखो. Please, how many times?
Oh, every single time.
Exactly. Can you take her intuitiveness away? Can you take her idea of understanding the pulse of India, pulse of our every tier away, and then ask her to take content basis data? You cannot. So it has to be a marriage, and the marriage needs to work. That's the beauty of it.
So add to that, and coming from experience, because we have done projects together, was when we don't instinctively think that, okay, this is what we should make for the audience, right? We're not always right. I mean, most of the time we are not, because obviously we are operating from a place of instinct and our estimating. But that's where Apoorva very rightly mentioned reading the data correct. A small example, at C5, once upon a time, some years ago, we used to read what would make a success of a show or a film basis a certain number of subscriptions. Okay, just to give you insight. Today, it is not just that, it is also the number of minutes that will be consumed. It is also about which minute, which audience, which cluster, which age group dropped on. So it's gotten that minding, and I think I really credit the marketing team, the data research team, the platform. You actually go down there and ask the question, okay, what more? Because everything's evolving so quickly. And hence, constantly to ask the question, why is this not working? Why is this working? And how do we find out more?
So, Dr. Archie, your question is very interesting, and I think data has become more of a how than anything over the last 20 odd years.
Yeah.
ये हुआ है और जो कहता है मैं डेटा में काम करता हूँ उसको साइंटिस्ट जैसी फीलिंग आती है कि मैं डेटा काम कर रहा हूँ तुम ब्रांड पे काम कर रहे हो अच्छा तुम तो उस कहानी का करा रहे हो So I think one of the things which I want to clear, make very clear in this room is that data is not a wow. Data is not a ghost. And data के लिए, thanks to the artificial intelligence tools, there are so many diamond dozen कि आपको data से जो insight चाहिए वो मिल जाएगी. आपको सिर्फ एक बटन क्लिक करना है कुछ मिनट्स लगाने हैं और whatever data you want to be analyzed, it is at the snap of your finger. Then why are you required? See, understand some very harsh realities of the corporate world today. You are in 2025, the organizations are getting leaner, they are getting more diversified, and the role, the functions, the boundaries between the walls between the functions are getting thinner. ये तीनों चीजें याद कर लेना और लिख लेना because you will remember it again when you go in that curve. Organizations are leaner, the walls between the functions are getting thinner, and the data is not a monster. It is available at the snap of a finger to know what it is saying. Why are we required? First of all, data के analysis problem नहीं है, data को synthesize करके करना क्या है actionable उसकी problem. For that, one needs to have a completely open mind to be able to say, okay, if ABC are the findings of the data, then what is the DEF I propose and why? And this why does not come in silo. This why doesn't come from gut. This why doesn't come from theory. This why doesn't come from Kotler. This why doesn't even come from some kind of a published Google secondary data or anywhere. This why comes from the openness of understanding the business from deep core, for which you need to sit across the functions in the organization to understand, okay, if my findings are ABC and I'm proposing DEF, this has a backup by product, servicing, customer experience, and so on and so forth. So इसलिए I love there's an article, I'm sure you guys will find it on Google. The CMOs are the future CEOs. A very interesting article, please read it. It actually shapes up what we want to talk about. So I strongly do not urge my teams to use artificial intelligence tools in the first place because you need to थोड़ा सा मट्टी में हाथ गंदे करो थोड़े से हाथ गंदे करके उससे खेलो उसके बाद हेल्प ले लेना. So long as you are taking AI as a help and not replacing your brain with the AI, great. The moment you've replaced it, and a lot of us are doing it, I'm so sorry to say this, but like Mr. Mittal has given propensity free and there are so many data we have, but stop using them. I will strongly urge. Use them as a help to after a stage. Don't think कि ये data के साथ खेलूंगा. थोड़ा सा be that child in the park जो मिट्टी से खेलता है. Bring that dust and mud on your dress. Come back home. And that's when it will start making sense to each of us.
I think because it's very important to do it. To add to your point, ma'am, is that AI cannot live the life that you live, and your stories come from those experiences, and there is no alternative. And shouldn't also, yeah.
I mean, 2052 में my vision of life if I survive, and I wish I do, I should. But 2052 का मेरा vision तो ये है कि यार AI humans को replace ना करे, होना भी नहीं चाहिए technically, right? So how will that happen? If we can not really make AI such a big, thing कि बस सारा काम तो हमारा इसी ने करना है. And thanks to the school and colleges, AI को ban किया हुआ है काफी सारा. And I think there's a plagiarism check also. So thanks to all of you to make it happen. Otherwise, it wouldn't be very difficult.
Yeah, so this question, I also face a lot of time when I'm teaching, specifically FED course. So they come and whenever I'm teaching some model, they say that what will happen to our job? AI will take everything. Now machine learning, machines are doing it more efficiently. What will happen to our career? We will be outdated. Then my answer is very simple. See, go back a few decades when the first time this machine called computer.
Of course.
Yeah. Everybody was so shocked because this machine was capable to do things in fraction of minutes or seconds. But what happened? I think it created more jobs. You see.
Yeah, of course.
And those who haven't updated themselves, they become outdated. And those who have updated or upgraded themselves, they become more efficient or useful people, right? So see, the thing is, in today's dynamic world, you cannot stop or discourage innovation, right? If you are discouraging innovation, that's bad. But at the same time, you have to upgrade yourself with the world.
Yeah.
And that's what, when I talk to my students, I always say that, see, if you are not upgrading yourself according to the demand or industry, you will become outdated. Industry will keep on evolving, right? So that's very important to understand. And that's why everybody here with vast experience, they are precising on this front that, see, what is very dynamic. You have to upgrade, you have to learn, you have to contribute in a meaningful way and relevant way. And that's what the, if I just take a gist out of this discussion, it's very simple. So we are seeing a world where creativity and analytics are separate, right? They are complementary. So you have to prepare yourself because market is or industry is moving in its pace and very fast pace. And you have to change, you have to make suitable for you to yourself for the industry. And that's what we are talking about readiness, right? So you have to do that. So yeah, I need to moving ahead. Do you have any questions or inquiries? You can ask. And now this question? Okay.
So,
Yeah, please.
I want to add something. So, as ma'am rightly pointed out, don't use AI to segregate your data. Understand PII, personal identifiable information.
Yeah.
Your PII is important, my PII is important, everyone's is important. So, every time you have data in your hand and you think of using AI, please don't. If you don't want those telesales calls coming to you on a every day, every hourly basis, really understand PII. If you have your numbers mentioned on your Instagram handles, personal handles, remove those. You're giving a lot of data out just by not knowing it. We've all set up our profiles, our Gmail profiles, etc. like 10, 12 years ago. Just revisit that and get it changed. Secondly, your insights are things that make you creative. Data is a plenty. Just apply your creativity in understanding those insights. To understand those insights, just empathize with the situation, put yourselves in those shoes,
Exactly.
and think about what would you want for the market to do. What would make the brand sell something to you, the service to sell to you. So probably if you empathize more, if you put yourselves in other people's shoes, you'll be able to get that creativity out really well.
Exactly. Thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah, going forward, this one is important and very interesting for me as well. I'm also seeking to learn from your responses. So, this is about non-negotiable competencies. So, if you had to list the non-negotiable competencies on new entrants, like these people, right? Be it strategic thinking, storytelling, or experimentation, or digital fluency, what would be your topics?
That's big. I think I will go with EQ.
EQ.
Yes.
Alright.
I mean, I can explain it, but I will open the floor. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So I think अगर top three चीजें हमें चाहिए and we want everybody to own them. First is to, and I'm using the word aware with a bold underline, to be aware how and what kind of technologies are already there and what are on the verge of coming in. So even for example, an artificial intelligence is no longer a search, which is also automation of workflows, processes getting seamless, and agentics is now slowly getting into the work. I'm sure 5 years down the line, a lot of our marketing operations will be managed by agentics. But Do I want to panic? No. Do I want to replace myself to a bot? Maybe right now, no. But do I want to know what agentics are? Definitely yes. So that 5 years down the line, when agentics comes into the play, at least I know how to implement it. At least I know how to get that incorporated into my company's workflows, etc., etc. So that's one example. You must always be aware, always be knowing what's happening. That is number one. So be aware of all the technologies. I think the emerging technologies, as we call them.
Yes.
Be aware about them. Know what it can do for your interest of area. Second is that we just spoke about analytics. I think the analytics is also not a bunch of numbers thrown on your face and really, making sense of those numbers. Try to put a lot of business hat. So business acumen is very, very important. Start thinking like the owner of that business, even if you are the most lowest denominator. Let's say if you're working, let's say Airtel as an example, and you think you will be a manager operating a bunch of works for the respective department you would be doing for, let's say, Airtel. Start thinking what would the top boss of the Airtel be thinking at that point? What is the business objective going to be? That's called the business acumen side of marketing. Very important. The marketing is not a cost function, it is slowly becoming a very, very important resource and a very important contributor to your top lines. And so far as you all who are aspiring to become marketer, com expert, you own up the business, the more vital you will stay for the environment. And the third, which is again more important, is that see, before that a question, how many of you have two Instagram accounts? I'm not judging, don't worry.
Oh.
So you see, there are some people, more than people who have raised hands also, who have two Instagram accounts. What does it mean? It means that there are multiple personalities in the market consuming a product or a service or content, which technically means that simple analysis of a consumer is not so simple anymore. A consumer has multiple faces and a consumer has multiple moods. So the typical consumer, know your consumer type doesn't fit anymore. Try to understand the consumer behavior. Try to understand small little nudges which your daily life throws back at you. Zomato did not happen in one day, Swiggy did not happen in one day. It was a behavior notice that people tend to order from the nearby restaurant instead of going there and picking food or eating there. So pick up things which are from your surroundings, be observant. So which I would like to call it as a very, very specific observation-led consumer psychology analysis, which will help you in no matter which industry, which company you go to, will help you find out the consumer to the T where you will navigate through the business challenges and bring beautiful solutions for the top management. And that's where the steep growth happens for your career. So these are the three.
So as I was saying, I think EQ helps you to understand people, understand culture, because a lot of cultural nuances are required when it comes to marketing, right? We see translations of advertisements and they need to be effective also to work. So EQ from a standpoint of people, culture, and definitely understanding the consumer, which Sharon already mentioned. The second one would be situational fluency. So things are changing so rapidly. A lot of batches went through COVID. A lot of organizations faced very different problems during COVID. From I was heading employer branding back then, and we had to deal with very different situations which we had never. And dealing with uncertainty and that situational fluency actually gives you a lot of edge. To hold your ground so that you can think straight and find the solution to whatever the challenge is. So these would be my top two, EQ and situational fluency.
I want to add, when Sarada and the team were introducing what Yuktika is, they gave a very nice definition, and I looked up the meaning of Yuktika actually just before, getting seated, which is, and we will say it's a matching of intuition with intelligence. And I want to bring that up, and I know you've spoken about that in bits and pieces you have. It's about strategic and critical thinking. And I know a lot of people here, my co-panelists, are very anti-AI. So I don't want to talk about that because I'm very pro-AI. Okay, and I will, but then I also want to understand how students feel because I mean, definitely you all are AI natives. Back when I started my career, I used to call myself a digital native. This generation is AI natives. So anyway, coming back to that point, so it's strategic and critical thinking, and how much ever you use AI, please use AI because you also need to be aware of what tools are existing, right? That's what Cherryn said as well. So it's very important keep to not forget that strategic critical thinking. In fact, a lot of research papers are now coming that AI is making your brain stop that critical thinking. That thinking needs to happen. That's a non-negotiable for me. I use a lot of AI, like I said, I am not ashamed about it. I'm very happy to use it, but that's the critical part. How do you use it? It's not about copy pasting. I am fully for I work with technology clients, so I know what data protection means for all of us. But again, for you to understand the implication of data protection, you need to know, which is why you need to have that strategic critical thinking that I'm, saying again and again. So that cannot come from anything else, and that actually sums up in the name of your media conclave. And I mean, I wish more of these discussions happen, but please don't stop thinking. Read more, use whatever tools that exist, use data, cull out intelligent insights, but always think of how that thinking is going to impact. Because if you're creating a brand campaign, you have to work for business, whatever department of the company you work with, that cannot be stopped.
True that. I'll go to the ground stuff. And I mean, we've discussed all the skills pretty much. I'm gonna go to the absolute ground level non-negotiable. It's people management. That's what's gonna take you anywhere. As any professional in any department, you cannot not know what other person does or brings on stage. You have to put yourself in their shoes when you're talking to them. If you want your work, if you want something to work, you need to understand their psyche. And that can only happen when you build that kind of network, that kind of connection with me. Like today, as a marketer, I cannot say, I don't know what a DOP does. I don't know what a director does. I'm a marketing person. I don't know that. And I hear about that all the time. It's not my department. And we talk about just cross-functional department synergies in in our meetings and otherwise in our workshops, etc. But the real aspect of it all is to know people from where they come, respect it, understand where are they coming from, and bring it to your experience so that you're seeing the larger picture, and that's when you fulfill the mission. And this is the ground reality. And all the other skills, of course, are absolutely very important, and they've, of course, touched upon it. But people management, I think, is something that's going to take you ahead very fast.
Can I add an example?
Yes.
I want to add a very beautiful example.
Yes.
I want to give you an example from my office. Okay, very beautiful. It's a learning. देखो रियल एस्टेट का मतलब होता है सीमेंट रोड़ा पत्थर शीशा ऐसी कुछ फीलिंग आती है हमें कि रियल एस्टेट से काम करते हैं कोई कहाँ लेबर वेबर क्या करते होंगे nothing of that's a very glamorous profession by the way. So we are in commercial real estate. कितने लोग दिल्ली से वाकिफ हैं? How many people know Delhi? Worldmark Aerocity people know Worldmark? Okay, who have not gone to Worldmark, come be my guest. Okay, I'll host you for the nice lunch. Sir, we will take care of all the costing and all. You said some kids will us. So we'll arrange a very nice tour. We are making 17 million square feet of Worldmark in next to Delhi airport, which includes India's largest mall and lot of office buildings. So, अब मेरे पास जो team members हैं, their jobs are divided into narratives for platforms like LinkedIn, narratives for business pitches, because we are B2B platform in the sense that हमारे जो audiences हैं, our target customers are corporations or the retail brands. So या तो हम retail में अपने retail brands को अपने space के बारे में बताएंगे या corporations को बताएंगे कि आप आपके office space लो. And when we go live, then we do all your events and influencers and all your curly details, etc. But that's a separate part. So मेरा blood boil कब होता है AI से, and I want to justify why I hate AI in the first place because I didn't want to give you a real yeah. So कितने बच्चों ने कितने बच्चे हैं यहाँ पे जो लोग हिस्ट्री के एग्जाम में कभी तो हिस्ट्री पढ़ी होगी स्कूल के टाइम पे तब लगता था कि सप्लीमेंट शीट भर देंगे टीचर एक्स्ट्रा तो मार्क्स मिल जाएंगे चाहे बीच में कबाड़ लिखा हो इस ऐसा होता था सीरियसली होता था अभी एआई के साथ वही हो रहा है कबाड़ लिख के हम नैरेटिव लिखने की सोचते हैं प्रोडक्ट का एंड वो भी एआई भी कहता है कैन आई रिफ्रेज इट मोर कैन आई गिव यू मोर ऑप्शंस अरे देखिए कंटेंट वेयर इज द कॉन्टेक्स्ट वेयर इज द न्यूएंस एंड वेयर इज द कॉन्टेक्स्ट कुछ नहीं है so for the person to be the product manager of world one is expecting that person to know कि इस बिल्डिंग में शीशा भी लगा तो कैसा लगा क्यों लगा उसके बेनिफिट्स क्या हैं अब तक ऐसा शीशा कहाँ लगा था क्या बेनिफिट थे क्या हम ESG very very important हम environmental की बात कर रहे हैं it's not just about greenery and all of that तो अगर हमने business efficiency की बात की है energy efficiency की बात की है there is a lot of correlatability of the product which is shisha again cement again patthar but it builds up a very powerful product narrative. So मेरे यहाँ product teams generally press notes बनते हैं या pitches बनती हैं तो दो चार tools हैं उनके पेटेंट उनको यूज करते हैं एक फीड डालते हैं पुरानी प्रेस रिलीज की और कहते हैं रिफ्रेश करके दे वो रिफ्रेश करके दे देता है फिर मैं उसे पढ़ती हूँ तो मुझे सेम हिस्ट्री वाला पेपर दिखता है सप्लीमेंट बट नो कंटेंट तो मैं पूछती हूँ कि यार इसमें कुछ तो रनिंग मतलब कुछ तो होना चाहिए ना समथिंग न्यू तो वो मेहनत वो शिद्दत कि हम आर्किटेक्ट के पास बैठेंगे हम प्रोजेक्ट हेड के पास जाएंगे पूछेंगे हमें बताओ तुमने आज नया क्या किया तुमने ये क्यों किया जो किया और उसे करने से क्या फायदे हैं हम हॉर्टिकल्चर स्पेशलिस्ट के पास बैठेंगे कि तुमने लिली क्यों लगाई कमल क्यों नहीं लगाए कमल क्यों लगाए कुछ क्यों लगाए why everything has a why right and that why can't be senseless but who is asking that question so AI stops the ability to ask the why and that's why I hate it तो मेरी टीम में सबसे ज्यादा जो मेरा खून निकलता है और मेरे काम से धुएं निकलते हैं वो तब निकलते हैं जब मैं वो सेम हिस्ट्री का पेपर देखती हूँ 4 सप्लीमेंट्री शीट देखती हूँ जिसमें हरिश्चंद्र की शादी के बारे में पूरा बताया था एंड मुगल डायनेस्टी के बारे में लिखना था so I hate it so I personally feel guys जब आप लोग भी रिफ्रेश करने के लिए थोड़ा भी आंखों में धूल झोंकने के लिए कुछ AI का इस्तेमाल करके दे देते हो it just limits your why so please look back into the subject wherever you are using AI and see कि अगर ये टूल हट जाए और आपको 1970 में भेज दिया जाए तो आप क्या करोगे शायद आप लाइब्रेरी जाओगे शायद आप बुक्स ढूंढोगे शायद आप उससे रिलेटेबल थ्योरीज ढूंढोगे पढ़ोगे उसके बाद 4 लोगों से बात करोगे प्लीज डू इट आई एम टेलिंग यू इट्स वेरी
I told you, sorry. हम फिर से anti हो रहे हैं. That's where you need to know. I am also books. हमने भाई की बहुत बात की है this of Simon Sinek start with that we all have read it. I'm sure people who don't like reading books TED Talk available. That's the difference between book and the TED Talk.
Absolutely.
That's what AI. And I mean, I get what you're saying, but again, the whole point is it's not about I love AI or I hate AI. Okay, I get it. I love it, you hate it. Fine, no worries. But see, that's what Sir आपने भी ये बात बोली थी. AI will replace our jobs. AI will not replace the jobs. Who will replace the jobs is people who know how to use AI. Okay. If you know how to use AI, that's the difference. We need to learn. You said, no, AI hasn't replaced job. It's about restructuring that has led to AI has replaced job. It hasn't yet. It will. I get that. My whole point is just knowing how to use it.
Parliament House, by the way, has just verified. The Parliament House, our own Modi ji की सरकार has stacked about 25 people from the main office. And their job was to जितने भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर के ऑफिस से जितनी कम्युनिकेशन जाती है कॉम जितना कॉम जाता है उसको वैलिड करके क्राफ्ट करके नेरेट करके स्टिच करके 4 जगह वैलिड होती है। आई एम श्योर यू गाइस नो कि आईआईएम्स से भी मोदी जी के ऑफिस में बहुत सारी वैलिड होती है। If you don't know, then I'm just letting you know. There were 25 people who were sacked. So AI has taken jobs. It's not that big. और क्यों सैक हुए थे वो क्योंकि ये जो काम था कॉपीराइटिंग टैबुलेटिंग वैलिडेटिंग ऑफ इंग्लिश और कॉपी चेकिंग का एडिटिंग मेजरली has been replaced by AI. But to that effect, my objection and submission to that is कि अगर शायद उनमें 20 या 25 जो segregated, one of them is unfortunately the mother of my reportee. It was not a great situation for his house because she was a very big bread earner, and the boy is a very tech specific job guy, so he loves AI. But उसकी mom की जब job गई AI की वजह से it was not a pleasant surprise for him, and it just hurt him so much. So I'm saying people use AI for all the good purposes. I'm all for it. I'm myself a PhD student. I use AI all the time because sometimes I'm doing it on leadership and strat. और leadership की इतनी सारी theories हैं. My theory is a stakeholder theory on which I'm working. अब इस stakeholder theory में 88,000 papers लिखे जा चुके हैं. अब मुझे 88,000 papers में से ये देखना है कि मेरे contours में किसने काम किया तो मैं AI का use करूँगी ना. That's okay. But the soonest as I start using AI for anything and everything I do for my job, the chances are that you're creating a very large vacuum. So editors, copywriters, English narratives, central government has sacked people. So I don't want that.
We can love AI, hate AI. The truth is, you can't ignore AI. Okay. So let's like I was talking to the students the other day. See, we are going to use AI. Everybody's going to use AI. Everybody is using AI. Right? I mean, you're using chat. We started with the other day. You're using chat GPT to say how can I respond to this WhatsApp message better. Right? I mean, that's happening. No matter how many times we tell you, मत करो. And मम्मी भी तो बोलती थी ना 7 बजे के बाद करने बाद मत जाओ. किसी ने सुनी बात? So it's going to happen. But what is important is that you be responsible about it. Let's be smart about it. The truth is that if we like AI dictate what messages we want to send, we are putting ourselves in the line of doubling down further, right? So let's not do that. Let's use AI to our advantage and let's be the smarter. Yeah, right, that's it. You guys, sorry, but coming back to your original question.
Yeah, but you
The topic I don't negotiate. Yes. I think, see the primary one, and because I come from a very diverse background. See, I studied commerce, okay, I did economics, and then I landed up in a world which was completely different. I started with Balaji Elephants. I started making daily soaps back in 2005. From there, I mean, I worked with shows like Jessie Koi Nahi as a creative. I moved on to being an assistant director on a film called Bharti because I wanted to know what it was like. So I really wanted to know what it was like to be on a film set and how is it made because we all consume that, right? From there, I moved to the corporate world and I worked with Walt Disney, I worked with Discovery, I worked with BBC, my OTT journey started, then I came to Z5, then Zee Studios. So my experience in all of this, though it has been largely with entertainment and storytelling, but what has been very interesting is that I had this position when I was in the corporate world. We did make, PowerPoint presentations. We didn't have to look at balance sheets. We didn't have to do all of that. And we were responsible for why the business is not moving ahead. Okay. And believe you me that there were So many business pass outs that came into the entertainment world. Some of the top content heads, some of the top business heads in the leading television and network platforms are actually these two persons, some of the top. And they are telling us what kind of content should be created for the audience. Of course, it's a certain data research, and cross marketing. But what I'm trying to say here is that what is important primarily is agility. You have to be agile. What you're studying right now is great. It's prepping you to be a certain kind of a person to go out there and face the world. Trust me, the world after college is very different. And I'm sure most of you have worked before coming here, so you can tell the difference, And because it's changing so rapidly, it's going to be even more different when you step out of the years, right? You have to be agile. You have to be fluid. You have to be open. You have to know that, okay, I'm coming with this, but this is what is strengthening me as a human being, as a person. These are the soft skills have to be stronger than your technical skills. They have to be. So technical skills you will learn. Soft skills are going to be inspiring. That is what will help you grow and lead to your technical skills, right? Be the sponge. When you go out there, no matter which industry, no matter what company, what position, where you're going in, don't go and thinking, I'm at an MBA, I know this, and I will implement it. No, please do not do that. When you go, please go say, okay, this has given me the ability and the confidence. Confidence is very important. To be here today, let me be the sponge. My first 3 to 6 months are all about observing who's doing what. Why do certain teams function the way they do? Why is it structured the way they do? Today, across the globe, whether and across sectors, across various businesses, across various, I don't know what to call it, just various markets, it is very volatile, right? So there isn't that kind of guarantee that you are going to, what you're planning for the next 5 years is going to happen. And that is the harsh reality, let's face it. What you have to prep yourself is that whatever comes to deal with it. And you're going to learn. So that if what you thought you were going to land in the next 2 years, even if that does not work out, you will land somewhere that is even better because you have prepped yourself to get there. My favorite quote, and I actually printed this for my entire team in the trade one, was shoot for the moon. If you miss, you land on the stars. Well, my husband says it is shoot for the stars, you miss, you land on the moon. And I think it's the other way around. I think you really need to chant it out. You miss, you land on the stars, it's fine, you're among the stars, right? So prep yourself, I think that's pretty much.
Yeah.
So if this question was a little post, it would be called hashtag growth hacks. So like, for me, this growth hacks are two is understanding digital accessibility. Marketers as brand architects, brand people, we definitely need to understand the purpose behind digital accessibility. It's not about just my app बनाऊंगा तो I will उसमें plus minus का button डाल दूंगा तो text बड़ा या फिर कम हो सकता है. Why are you doing it? It's to understand neurodiversity. So spend some time on understanding what digital accessibility means. And second is building on what Apoorva and Pragati said about accessibility again in terms of people. If you just want to survive, it's okay. But if you want to thrive in a corporate setup, you need to scratch the other person's back to get your back scratched. Just be accessible. If you are like a fresher or a early career person, you have to be available at times and hours. You have to be available for your team members, for your managers, for your bosses. And again, the other way around, when you become that CXO, you have to be available and accessible to your team members. You need to back their decisions. You need to stand behind your decisions and behind your people to let them thrive as well. I think that accessibility as a term really helps as a growth hack.
Wonderful, thank you. So this is very useful for students who are thinking for their career roadmap, I think. So moving to the next one, this was long, but very, very, exciting. So, because Everybody was talking, they have talked a lot about, cross-functional exposure. So the next question is about that only, how vital is cross-functional exposure like media, branding, consumer insights, product analytics for students aspiring to leadership role?
So Dr. Yuktika, as I just mentioned, it is extremely vital.
Yes.
Because you have to have that holistic view. When you are going into a leadership role, you're not necessarily looking at a very micro picture, you're looking at a macro picture from a distance to be able to understand and get it as a third party view and analyze the problem from a distance. And that you can only do if you know all the gamuts properly. So I'll go to an extent as far as to say that not just brand form and analytics within marketing as a function, even outside marketing as a function. One needs to know what's the finance side looking like. One needs to know what is the HR side looking like. One needs to know what's the ops side looking like. And that brings a lot of gravity to the quality of marketing you will do for the organization.
Sure.
So when I joined Bharti Real Estate, it was not called as Bharti Real Estate. It was Bharti Realty, a very small real estate arm of Bharti Airtel, Bharti Enterprises. And I've always challenged the status quo. It has only happened because you've also seen nobody at a level when you join in the organization will tell you what is it that you need to do. You need to navigate your own path. You need to find out, okay, what am I supposed to do? And there is that time which will come in every one of your life. जब आप लोग को लगेगा कि हमें कोई बताए तो हमें करना क्या है. But that's the challenge to yourself कि आपको कोई बताएगा नहीं आपको organization में क्या करना है. आपको ढूंढना है कि organization आपसे चाहती क्या है. So when I joined Bharti Real Estate, I figured out that we were treading from a journey of 1.3 million square feet to 17 million square feet. For a business to grow from 1.3 to 17, it was the steepest curve any organization would have taken.
Exactly.
So for me, the idea was to look what does Bharti Real Estate as a business stand for the general audience. And I found there were gaps. First of all, who am I influencing? The easiest target, as I told everybody, was retailer and the organizations taking spaces from us. But who else? So the investors, the stakeholders, anybody who's looking at us, what do they understand us? And then looking at P&L, the business plans. What are the 3 years top line plans looking like? What are the 5 years top line planning looking like? However, how is the organization planning to achieve it? Where is the money going to come from? Because that is going to pay all of us the salaries. So when you see these from the finance lens, from the operating lens, and then you will find out, okay, these are the 3-4 top things to achieve as an organization. Now, I as a marketeer, what will I do to make that happen? So then you understand, okay, I will build ABC narrative. 2, you understand, okay, I will create my own positioning as a corporate and also for the product. And number 3, to go to market, I will do ABC go to market functionalities. And that's why it's very important that you have cross-functional between the departments of the organization as a view, and then within the marketing, you keep it as a very, very cohesive view to be able to be a very successful marketer.
And I will also talk it from a lens where you can try different career paths. That is also
100%.
yes, that's what I did. During my MBA, I tried everything under the umbrella of marketing. I did a market research internship with Canada, and I did a project with Cherryn Dogra. I could explore everything under the marketing umbrella. That gave me a lot of perspective and understanding कि मुझे नौकरी किस फील्ड में करनी है. I did not sit for any sales roles. I only applied for 3 to 4 roles that I wanted to, and that was my choice because I had the clarity. When you have clarity, it is also a part of motivation.
Yeah.
Clarity gives you motivation, right? So after that, I did category management for some time, which is in e-commerce. Decided to get back to advertising and marketing. Worked with an agency. Then Brilio did employer branding significantly for across organizations, India, UK, US, really different regions. And then finally decided to go independent. My book was released, first book was released in 2021, then it was released this year.
And today I work with VCs. And when I work with VCs, I realized that I could bring the perspective of different industries and organizations because I have been a part of them. Yeah, and that has helped me immensely to try newer things, having the courage to experiment and try newer things across industries also. When I time independent, one very interesting project I did was not in tech, not in healthcare, not in real estate, but with dyslexia. I worked with NGOs and I worked with WHO for a project in dyslexia that gave me so much knowledge in understanding people and people management and EQ that I was talking about earlier. With that insights and I could actually write a story in my second book because it is again about people.
Yeah.
So, having a different career path from what you have planned today is also very, very okay. उसमें डरने की कोई बात नहीं है मैंने बहुत रिस्क लिया है startups sometimes have to let go of people. Life changes, uncertainty is a part of life and it's not going away. So if you ever feel like आज मुझे ये करना है or maybe 4 साल बाद if you want to do anything else in a different career trajectory, it's absolutely okay. It's just gonna add to your resume and add to your personality more than anything.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I think peer learning is something that really helps. I think you guys are building a very good network, right? I mean, you go out for case calls, you go, you do placements together. So once you're out of your MBA, once you started your career trajectories, I think start asking questions beyond placement, kitna percent hua, tera kitna package laga and stuff like that. I think ask questions about what is your industry doing, what are your job roles, what are your KRAs. And I think if you get to understand those better when you're just starting out, it makes for you to become a better leader. Because then you'll set timelines accordingly. When we create what we used to create in your earlier roles, कि ये 2 घंटे में करके देना बहुत मुश्किल है. When you become a leader, you'll give them 4 hours or probably couple of days to get the same job done. So I think understanding cross functionalities across industries and across functions, I think is really going to be helpful for you to become better leaders. So do that.
Yeah, so adding to this, before. Okay.
Is it important? I mean, we have discussed in the last question also, it was important.
It's good.
But I think one aspect why it is important is normally when we are sitting in our silos, हम लोग दूसरों को judge करना बड़ा पसंद होता है. Tech क्या कर रहे हैं? कुछ हो क्यों रहा है? And we have solutions for everybody. Content को कुछ पता ही नहीं क्या बना रहे हैं. अच्छा ये कर देता हूँ. So we do that, and we are very judgmental. And especially millennials are say 7 or 10, then Gen Z are probably 10 or 10. So it's a good thing, honestly. What happens is when you get to know what are their problems, their day-to-day lives, what are the challenges when you speak from their lens. And that is when I can say you basically form like a T graph of your growth. You have to understand every department, their challenges without judging. It can be very simple. It can be something like, I'll give you an example. From an entertainment perspective, we talk about AI, and I'm again, if you should know, I'm absolutely pro AI. So personalized recommendations, and that's the thing. Every platform does personalized recommendations. You watch this, you would also like this. But there's so much combination that goes with it. That most times we think क्या दिखा रहा है इसको ये दिखाना चाहिए था ये दिखाना चाहिए था डेटा तो बेसिस पैसा नहीं हो सकता ये तो इंट्यूटिव होता है 30,000 ways. When you sit in that chair and you understand how that funnel is made, why that business decision is taken, why there's a funnel of say an A-word inventory going to a export inventory, there's science being. Sitting in your chair in your department is very easy to judge. Sit with them, understand day-to-day problems, understand with content क्यों ये actor ने किया. आपको लगता है कि actor fit नहीं होता. What was the vision behind making anything? What was the risk? And I'm saying making mistakes, that's the best thing that you can do for yourself. Making mistakes is great. You can same mistake again, but that's not. So that's my take on cross functionality.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of an analogy here, right? As an organization is like our body, okay, and every part is like a different vertical. or different business within that organization. Now, because it is our expertise, my expertise, I will only specifically talk about the entertainment. So, for example, the platform, okay? When you commission something, you are starting with a producer or director coming to you with a story and saying, "मुझे ये कहानी बनानी है." Okay? Now, as a content team, our job is primarily to screen and basis, of course, what we have, sat with the data team and understood what the audience are trending today, what marketing has told us, how it is trending, all of that. We say, okay. And then, of course, creatively is the story great. Then we'll say, okay, we want to make this, right? After that comes in the operations team. That will come in and do all the paperwork. They want to start putting all of that together. Then comes in the finance team. That wants to come and break it all down into the detailed budget. कि आपने spot boy का कितना per day है, generator van का per day कितना है. I mean, to that kind of ground detail, right? Then of course comes in your legal team. So we also work very closely with our legal team because they are the ones who are checking the contract. And the funniest bit is that we have to play the good cop, bad cop, right? Because the legal team is saying, oh, but this is against company policies. And then you have to like side for the director or the producer and say, no, but you cannot make this if you don't give them this clause, okay. And the same thing, you won't have a producer, oh, but it won't happen. So you're doing that. And then of course from there, eventually once we work very closely with marketing and then with PR and then, eventually the distribution team. Now all of these are different experts who come from different schools, and they come from law school, they come from business school, they come from finance background, anything. But film schools, there's some teams come from journalism background. But you all have to work together because without one, the business is not going to work. And all of this ultimately gives the business head or CEO who's responsible for. So you have to have a 360-degree vision. You have to.
Thank you. So that I think that's what we draw in our classrooms also. The integration and the clear communication is very important. And, like for example, I come from let's say operations management background, and suppose we are responsible for manufacturing, right? So we know that how much to be produced, okay? But there is something somewhere in the marketing department. So their goal is to sell more as much as possible. That's what they are asked for. But if you see the holistic goal for the company is to get more profit. Right? But marketing department might be working to get more sales or exposure, right? But operations department, they have to work for the inventory management and all. Now they say, one simple example I can cite, I have read a book called The Whole. So they beautifully cited this example which I can relate. Marketing department have done some promotional activity. But they haven't informed the operations team that, see, we are going for a promotional activity. Now what happens, suddenly the demand rises. Okay? But the production department is not ready for it. Now this is what, if you are not working on a cross-functional team, if you are not integrating your, activities, your information, and then not 2 days, it's in advance also you have to do that. Okay, this is what we are going to plan for the next or next month. And that's where, and it becomes more important as adding to the, Pragati's point, when you are working with a team, that team is very cross-functional and very diverse. Making them understand, aligning the goals is very important. And it's very challenging also because, see, if you ask marketing team to say, just talking on promotional activity or you just hold it off, we are not ready. It's very difficult to negotiate or convince them. They say, no, we have targets, we have to do that, okay? So that becomes very important, and that's where the people management, I think, plays a very important role. How are you putting it and your soft skills apart from your technical skills. So
Network is your net worth by the end of it.
yeah, true.
Well said.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. So I think we have covered most of the questions. Now we are open for questions, Q&A. So your doubts, your questions, our experts are here. Yeah, please go ahead. Can anyone celebrate?
Good afternoon to one and all present here. First of all, I'd like to thank all the panel members for sharing your incredible experiences and insightful advices with all of our students. I'm Apeksha Reddy, and as someone who's interested in working in the entertainment industry, my question to all of you is, when you mentioned that consumers today have multiple personalities and diverse behaviors, how can brands practically decode and respond to such diverse consumer mindsets?
Very interesting question. Because there is no one framework or a solution for it. You have to adapt every content piece every single time. Like I said earlier in the session, what worked in January may not work right now. And what worked for some people may not work for other people, which is why I also want to build on AI. Okay, I'm gonna tell you very fact. Back in the day, and when I say back in the day, it's 5 years back in the day. 2019, 2020 used to have 6 months long campaign. I worked on Padmavat, which was an 8 months long campaign. Toilet Train Katha was about 6 months campaign where we broke the trailer in India, South Africa, trying to reach masses, and then we created a 6 months long journey for you to sample the film. Now we are running on a shelf life of 15 days. And trailer is not the hero anymore. I'm sure all of you know the success of Sayyara. How many of you actually watch the trailer to take a decision to watch it? Two hands. I mean, the point is right now you are talking to people, and unlike other marketing, I want to bring that to your notice. When you are selling a shampoo, when you are selling a car, you can experience it. You can see, oh, if it works, it doesn't work, it says this, should I buy it? I didn't question that. Here, you are building hype for so many days, so many months on an appointment viewing that you will pay me after 15 days. Earlier, 6 months, but now after 15 days. Now, what works for you may not work for your cousin who's probably in a different state, in a different city, and of a different demographic. Hence, right now, the voice of every content is from the layers we open for each segment, and which is why AI comes into it. Trailer is not the hero product anymore. So, for every audience, every kind of consumer that we know can possibly convert, can possibly has the propensity to pay for this content, will be exposed to that kind of that layer of the content that has the most ability for us that we can let him or bring that intent to watch or to buy the ticket or to subscribe. So what your cousin probably will see is a meme page, for example. I'm just assuming that she's a teen who's on third party pages, you're seeding and everything, she's probably gonna get exposed to a meme page or a dialogue or something that's gonna resonate. Oh, this is something interesting, I might just watch it. For you, probably I'm gonna show, say, a love story, something which has more emotional angle to it, and I know that may something sometimes connect to you. Like for example, a film which is talking about a very important aspect that deals with societal issues. The moment I talk about, for example, toileting का था, toilet बनाओ बहुत अच्छा होता है, sanitation is important. Most of you are gonna be like ज्ञान to them. Nobody likes preaching. So who you are talking and how you are talking and what is that communication that you are building for each of that segment is extremely important. And hence the choice of media is also very important. And hence the editors, copywriters cannot match up to the diversity that there is right now in the country, which is why AI comes into play. So the kind of content that we are able to turn millions of samples and we are able to turn in less than 30 minutes, it's amazing. And we know that the chances of conversions are pretty high. The second aspect that I want to talk about is performance marketing. It's not just about the ROAS. It's about what content is being catered to whom and what is their propensity and likeness or the lookalikes that they have. There are so many permutations and combinations that you have to keep in mind. And like Pragati said, agility. You think it may work because most of the stuff, whatever said and done, yes, it is data driven. I know that this person has propensity to watch Manoj Bajpayee films, for example, and has been exposed to this film. Not necessarily my creative is working for that person. So how I change in real time is the game changer.
I'll just add to something. This was so पता नहीं कितना सच है, but my team told me there is something called an A/B testing बोलते थे. अब A/B testing बोलते हैं. So A to B, B to C, C to D, ये multiple tests चल रहे होते हैं. पहले हम used to do A/B testing. I'm sure a lot of people have done it. Now they call it AZ testing, which means there is no prototype. There is no single prototype. You need to keep going. And for performance marketing, that's the A/B test. Especially in B2C brands, they are doing A to Z market, A to Z testing literally every day.
So every facet of marketing, whether it is performance, whether it is social, whether it is PR, whether it is your CLM, everything has you have to constantly churn, you have to constantly maneuver, and that's the game changer.
Now, adding to that, what is happening nowadays, started from, e-commerce, quick commerce, and, things, product life cycle has shrinking like anything. The problem now, retailers or, the sellers are facing, you have to advertise also your product and you have to bring that product in the market as well. But nowadays, what is happening, the moment you are advertising and trying to bring the product in the market and it is reaching to the distributors or retailers, before that, lot of same, variety of the product or homogeneous product has been launched and at a lower price. So many retailers or many sellers, what is face, if they have purchased their product, let's say for 100 rupees, and they have to sell at 150, the moment it is reaching after advertisement for selling in the store, already a product is launched, the similar product but at 100 rupees in the market. Now, how are you going to get your margin? Okay, you thought that you will be selling at 150, but the same product is available at 100 rupees, somebody else is selling. So you have to be very quick. We never thought that in 10 minutes we will get product in our hand, but quick commerce is doing that. And it's because of the competition. You are not doing, somebody else will do, and you have to compete on services as well as, not prices is not a good one, but services is.
Yeah, competition is a very, very good word.
Yeah.
I mean, we always had competition, right? But now, and if I just talk about the content universe, there was a time where you enjoyed watching even a 3-hour film.
Yeah.
Right? Today you're watching 3-minute episodes. They are called micro dramas.
Yeah.
And the market is being flooded by them.
Yeah.
Is it a bubble? We'll find out. Right? But that is what is happening today. And why is that? Because the attention span, Instagram Reels, TikTok banned in India, but TikTok videos, right? And so the pressure of course, creating that content very quickly, but the bigger pressure is marketing that content, right? Because you have to convince the audience ki ye bhi dekho, without really making them feel that you're pushing it down their throat. How do you do it? Is a big one. And honestly, I don't know if we have found those answers because we are really evolving, trying to stay ahead of the curve. It's not easy given the nature of the business.
Yeah.
I mean, that's simply how it is. Because when, creating physical products.
Yes.
You're talking about e-com where you're creating physical products and that is happening so quickly. Here we're talking about creating digital content, which is moving at lightning speed.
And so it is in a very hyper-connected world. So yes, the attention span is a major issue for sure. But the whole point is how do you stick that audience, create that urgency, and ensure this person pays. That's the whole point. Because India is still very native, in the space of where they buy entertainment. They want free entertainment. There's still a huge gap. Yes, it has filled to a certain degree, but there's a huge gap. And that's gonna take some time. We're all trying our best, and I'm sure our future leaders, you guys will also come with a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's a very exciting ride ahead.
Sorry, just closing that on, like you said, right, what's gonna stick.
Yeah.
And that's what makes thinking out of the box most important, right? What is it that, I mean, which is the dance campaign that I'm sure you remember that was really, really something that you loved? See, that's the thing. How can you think out of the box? Next time, that's going to be important. Like, somebody mentioned the Cadbury ad the other day. That's stuck. The girl running across the field, cheering for the man she loves, and then the flip that was done recently. Now that sticks, right? So it's because that was out of the box. You would have never imagined somebody doing something like that. What is out of the box? I think that's going to be a direction to think of more.
And back in the day, we used to have majorly TV, hoardings, print, at least when I started after my graduation. My decision was between theatrical and TV, to be very honest. That's all it was. Right now, your creators are your entire ecosystem. Everybody is a production house in themselves, and I'm sure so many of you are like running a production house, but you don't know it yet. See your Instagrams. So right now, it is like you have 300 different mediums, actually 3,000, and it's only gonna grow. So you cannot be everywhere. But what you can do is create that messaging for the right person where your idea is to create that intent. If you're able to do that, it's half job done.
Thank you so much. I think we will take a few more questions. Yeah. You then. Okay. Yeah.
Hello everyone. First of all, thank you so much for such a beautiful session. So we detailed and discussed about the AI, whether we should go for AI or not.
Go for it. But wisely.
That's the takeaway. She summed it up.
The thing is, जैसे कि बीच में, can I speak?
Yes.
So in middle, we used to hear that, for example, if I'm talking to my friend, the phone used to hear कि हम बात कर रहे हैं, तो the phone used to automatically take the data. So it's not like I want to use AI or I don't want to use AI. As Pragati may have said, we can't ignore AI, right? So it's been such an integral part of our day-to-day lives that intentionally or unintentionally we are a part of it. So my question is, how can AI be used diligently to leverage its power and stand out in today's digital world? Like, it's not like I want to use it, but it's been so integral that if I want to use it, how can I use it diligently that it's for use?
So first thing first, as I said, I'm a researcher, I don't use AI. So the thing about me hating AI, we can't ignore AI, we have decided that. So I'll tell you how I use AI. And that's my version of how you use it. So I need to know the directionally where I need to go. From a vast universe of information, directionally which side should I look into? And AI is a direction provider. The moment I know the direction, the moment broadly contours, I know that this is what I need to know. Then I'm on my own to further synthesize that into actionables for myself. So I'll give you an example. Like I want to know stakeholder theory, how is it used for mapping ESG performance? Very simple. So has the stakeholder theory been used, not being used? The answer will be yes. Where all it has been used? 55 places it has been used. What all has it studied? It has studied A, B, C, D, E. Then I know, okay, what I am studying is vastly different from what they have. It's a validation to a researcher that, okay, my work is new. I need somebody to tell me that, right? And in today's day and age, when I'm a working professional, I need that aid to help my PhD go faster. So I'm using it for efficiency, I'm using it for direction, and I'm not putting my brain in freezer, most importantly. So I'm not saying don't use the knife. Use the knife, but cut tomatoes, don't cut your fingers, right? So use AI to find what is new, to know how your processes can be streamlined, to maybe throw a bunch of data at that and ask, okay, what does it show? Maybe it'll give you some beautiful insights. Maybe it will guide you on various new sectors, new industries, what are the new things they are doing. Like for example, if I tell you and ask you, anybody who's mind to go in automobile industry, what are the new things they're looking for? What are the new age dynamics in marketing they are introducing? What are the metrics they are measuring? Maybe you want to go, you are eyeing for automobile, you want to be in marketing, but you don't know what metrics do they measure. And how do you come across as a learned professional to be hired by a BMW or Mercedes of future? That's a direction taking. Nobody's saying no, don't do it. But the moment you you get a call from BMW HR and you are interviewed by the HR and then subsequent levels, and you go by the printout and cram it up and grotto it and give it away, that's called foolish use of AI. So please understand for direction, navigation, taking a little bit of a contours to what you want to learn, please go for it.
Yeah, adding to the same thing, I'll bring some behavioral aspect in that. Okay? So I know a person, so that person has a lot of free time during the say night time, okay? And the day is very hard, sometimes, a lot of issues happen. So now there are two options. That person can come and talk to maybe the relatives or the people at home. But the moment let's say he or she is talking to the human have tendency of criticizing or questioning then answering, right? But AI is let's say ChatGPT. ChatGPT, if you are asking questions, then the way you want to take the conversation, you can take it.
Yeah.
Okay? And everyone likes validation and to be right in terms of what you are thinking. So see, it is very, very thin line where you are just getting validation from a machine, which you want. Already the argument you have built in your mind, so you don't want to be criticized. Now you are framing your question accordingly, then you are getting the responses and you are becoming happy or satisfied, or you are justifying your actions. Okay? Human might not do it. Okay. So you have cell phone. Cell phone, there are let's say 3, 4 main use of cell phone. Calling, maybe you are some internet browsing or something. Nothing more than that. But how much time are you spending on screens? More than 6 hours. If you see your screen time, more than 6 hours. And it is controlling your behavioral, your critical thinking ability, everything is being controlled. The scrolling, if you see Instagram, why this scrolling has become infinite? Because these guys are making money, right? These guys are making money. More you scroll, more you click, more money for them. So initially the Facebook was not, infinite scrolling length. Now it is YouTube. But it is your time which you are just giving away, which you might use for learning something new, or spending time with your family. And let me tell you, this is what the most alarming is. If you keep on proceeding like that, somebody is like brain dead, you are going to be the most urgent requirement is that people are going to be depressed, stressed.
There is a study yesterday, na?
Yeah.
People who are, I'm sure all of you are on social media, day before yesterday there was published a study which said watching small reels extensively can shrink your brain. It's a neurosciences study. Just 2 days ago it has got published. They have now said that small reels, small videos, YouTube shorts and all of that, beyond the capacity, you're making your brain capacity shrinking.
Yes, and one more thing is very important. See, we human we feel emotions, right? So let's say if you get a reel which is about some jokes or some content which makes you happy. But the next reel suddenly you might get which is very sad. Now this switching off your emotions, you are switching off, right? You are very happy. So one hormones reel. Now the reel is very sad, another. But Instagram has done also that. They are learning, right? The moment you scroll.
Kids do we have in this session, in this class?
Mhm.
Of the class at 2025, how many kids do we have?
We
Graduating?
have around 470, I think.
And the second year might be 200. No, 400. 400 divided section wise.
Yes, section wise. And he's raising one.
Section A, B है कोई?
Yes, section A.
And section A, second year, who all are there? Any 2 students from any section? B section से कोई 2-3 बच्चे?
First year could also be there, yeah.
आप तीनों एक ही सेक्शन में हो? नहीं, कोई भी एक सेक्शन में 3 या 4 बच्चे हैं हमारे पास, कोई B के 4 बच्चे या C।
First year section A. First year
First year
section.
section A। ई सेक्शन, आप चार सारे एक ही सेक्शन पे होंगे। इनको क्या पसंद है? What does she like and where is she from? What does she like? Preferences. फ्रेंड है तुम्हारी? गुड। तुम्हारी कितने सेक्शन में बच्चे हैं? 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 जितने भी हैं, तो में से कितने लोग उनके पास जानते हैं, कितने बारे में जानते हैं, नहीं जानते? बिकॉज आई थिंक द पावर ऑफ ह्यूमंस एज somebody was mentioning, we are losing out on the power of people connections. So yeah, your inordinate time to internet, bad. Good time to internet, good. I mean, there is no debate about good versus bad. I have a 13-year-old sitting right at the back. She gave me a very nice insight. I was never aware about this. WhatsApp, kids are spending time with the chat, the chat box. So I discovered she was chatting and मतलब बहुत ही अपनी दुनिया में मग्न जिसे chatting होती है. And she told me that these are characters who basically become your friends. Now this was new for me and I thought ये school से कुछ मतलब school का कोई बीमारी है. I went to my office. There are two girls. One is 27 years old. The other is 29. The 29-year-old girl just got married. मैंने बोला यार चैट पर WhatsApp पे तुमने चैटबॉट से चैटिंग करते हुए किसी को देखा है? Can you don't tell me? I'm so addicted. 3.5, 4 hours every day I'm chatting up यार. ऐसे तेरी भी शादी हुई है? सिर्फ 4 घंटे चैट कर रही हूँ मैं. It's so addictive.
The algorithms are louder than I thought.
Yeah. Thank you. We will
Just I sum it up. I know we are up on time also. I give you a few practical tips. Okay, 2, 3. जब भी आप AI यूज करते हो ना, कॉन्टेक्स्ट दो. Like and सर ने बात बोल दी तो I'm not going to repeat. AI has a habit of teasing you. Tell AI when you start using. Give the first prompt. Behave like a brutally honest client who will grill me like hell. It will give you good responses. That's fine. Second, you have to, the context matters a lot. Okay? When you use AI, I'm using AI to write to say a journalist about a story in the Times of India. PR, typically it's one of the jobs that you do daily. So it will be very different response versus you are going to write an email to your client. Similarly, if you're going to build a brand campaign, we are talking about branding marketing. And like Apoorva said, why it matters is because you're able to churn out that content because there are 3,000 channels. उन 3,000 channels को identify करना कौन सा right channel है वो आपका काम है. That's why human matters. And finally, responsible use of AI. What does that mean? That means you're not supposed to put in your email IDs, phone numbers. People give those basic tips. आपका फोन आपको सुन रहा है, honestly आप settings off कर सकते हो जाके. It's just basic use. Phone net के we make jokes about it, but the responsible usage of AI, you're not supposed to put in any personal information. When you going to work, right now you're students, but when you work with organization, most of us, we cannot put in a lot of our company, client, confidentiality clauses exist. We cannot put that data into even the pro version of ChatGPT or whatever tool that you use. Use AI for things like call हो रही है, transcript आ गई, उसमें से data how you can use it. But again, कैसे आपको use करना is what you need to do. ये 3 चीजें कर लो, specifically the brutality part of it, because AI will always please you. It says, I have this idea, I want to do this. Yes, awesome. It'll never say no, it's a bad idea. Right? Yeah. So yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll take one more question. I think then we'll.
Afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for the session. It was very good. Thank you, MPRC, for doing the session. So my question would be on trend. So we have a lot of population and data over here. We have already talked about the relationship, how we have to maintain with people. So being from media, we have a ton of data on a lot of people. And if I have to put the trend and data in an Excel sheet, it would be changing per minute. Old Excel sheet would be changing 100 times in a day. That is very low maintenance. So how are you guys dealing with the trend. So if we are to make a movie in a OTT based on the trend right now, the time that we take to make the movie at the end when it comes, it might not be the trend. So how are we catching up with the trend with such a big population?
Don't make it better. No. Because, we were discussing, Lavaka babies work, but you know how many movies like that already exist? One worked out. It is not because of the trend. It is about one human insight that you were able to infer from the entire thing. And you thought, okay, all of this is working, this is the world, but this is the emotional aspect that nobody has tried. Maybe I need to try this different. Because everything, honestly, the trend comes from past stuff. The trend comes from so many people have done, this has the strike rate, this doesn't have the strike rate, but it is not because of one thing, especially content. It doesn't work because of just one trend or one narrative. If it had to, like Sayara is a 500 crore film, everybody would make teenage romance and they will become billionaires by now. Doesn't work that. Don't follow that.
So, take a step back. When you said that if you want to make a film for OTT, even theatrical, say you want to make a film for audience, okay? Yes, it takes at least a year, if not more, make a full length feature film and put it out there for a year. I mean, the shortest time would be like 10 months. But anything shorter than that, you're not making a film. Okay. So that means that you have to start thinking what the trend or the audience are going to be like 2 years later. So you have to actually yes, so as content teams, when I was the head of content, what we had to do primarily was every year, like you make a business plan, first week of April or maybe
all
you're giving it all. I think they should know, right? So in March, we're making a business plan for the next year. Okay. We're also making a content strategy. So when we're making a content strategy, we decide how many films we want to do in a year, how many shows we want to do in a year, and what kind. We also put it in different genres. So at that point in time, we're thinking, oh, for example, when the Three Universe came into the picture, it did exceptionally well. And at that time, everybody wanted to make a three, right? But for us, my team, somebody in my team said a very interesting thing. They said, ma'am, if we start making another horror comedy today, by the time we make it, there will already be 3 horror comedies from the three universe. Do we really want to do that? And it made perfect sense. So we said, okay, that's something we will not do. But we realized that somebody had not made a very beautiful story on, say, a father and not a father, but an old man, or an older man and a small boy, and small boy telling the older man what realities of life are, and so we said, okay, Carnival love that makes sense, for example, right? So you have to stay ahead of the game thinking, what would the audience like 2 years later? Now that's not going to be dependent on what we think the audience will like, right? So it ties in with who are the audience? The audience is your public. As creators, we have the responsibility of shaping mindsets, right? We have the responsibility because like when we go and we say a film like Chava, everybody believes, oh, that is really what happened. How much of it is true? Well, the history books will tell you, right? But general mass public will go and watch that film and come out and say, yeah, you were now. Do you know? So the responsibility is high on our shoulders. So we have to go back and think, okay, 2 years later, what could the economic situation of our country and our consumers be? Would they be in a position to go to a theater, or would they be buying subscriptions and watching content online? Okay, so that comes in the economy of the country, first of all. So we have studied that trend. Second is, where is our digital platform headed, right? What are the kind of consumers that we have there? That is important. What are the trends for pop culture? What is trending? Okay, is that going to last? Because pop culture doesn't last more than about 6 months, maybe 4 months, 5 months, right? So what could that lead to the next pop culture? And all of these things, we're basically trying to study mass psychology of very, very different, very people to try and see what 2 years later the possible audience could enjoy. And sometimes we succeed, Most times we don't, but that's okay. The core of it is at least we should ensure that we are entertaining people. That is important. That it is emotionally gratifying, that you are engaged in watching the entire content. So these are three things that you cannot compromise with. The emotional investment in your characters, the engagement to your storytelling and the plot, and the final is really the trends that will be more relatable, that will land in the future. That's the core to answer your question.
Just to broadly sum it up, it's not as simple as genres and trends and stuff. So basically, it's a lot more nuance, lot more understanding of audience, like Pragati said. And most importantly, don't think that you're making it for OTT or theater or content is platform existed. If your content has soul, you can say the same thing probably in half an hour episode. You can say the similar thing in a different avenue, in a different way, in a 2.5 hour movie, or you can have shorts and create good stuff. So basically, it's not about what platform you're choosing, it's about the heart of the content that you're choosing. Breaking Bad basically cut across generations for a reason. And we do all these studies about what is Gen Z watching. When they start spending, what will they buy? I mean, adolescents game. Yeah, Squid Game. Adolescents is a story of a Gen Z person, but it's majorly resonated with parents. So there is no formula. And therefore the trends, that's why I said the trends cannot show you exactly what's gonna work. What it can possibly indicate is a direction. What it can give you, okay, this is a space where people are experimenting and they are adapting to it. What is that we can see after 2 years? What is that what we can anticipate can happen and take some bets on it? It is a risky business. Like, I'll give you a very practical example. We used to have All Max back in the day. And I don't know how many people know All Max. It is our holy grail for the film industry. It's like that's how I'm coming to it. It is like how TAM is. But how many people, like actually most people in the industry, we do not trust it entirely. Because the sample size of that research is so small and our country is so varied that a research platform cannot anticipate the first day of the box office or first day numbers on an OTT platform, then how can we anticipate that? So there are big risks. Yes, you can try to cover it as much as possible, like how Pragati said, use those things, but that cannot be the deciding factor.
Alright, thank you so much. I think we have already one count of the time, so I'll just close it here. Okay, so thank you to all our panelists for such a rich and insightful discussion. Please have a seat. Today's conversation made one thing very clear: the future of media and branding belongs to professionals who can bridge worlds, data and creativity, technology and empathy, specialization and cross-functional understanding. So for students here, your greatest advantage will not just to be mastering tools, but developing the ability to adapt, learn continuously, experiment, and tell meaningful stories with authenticity. So the industry today value curiosity as much as capability and trust as much as technology. Okay. So whether we speak about macro creators, virtual influential, or AI-led workflows, the central question remains same. How do we create genuine value for consumers? And I hope this session has given each one of you clarity about where opportunities lie and what can we start doing today to become industry ready tomorrow. So thank you, our audience, for being such a attentive and curious group. So we look forward for future conversation and collaboration. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
We understand you guys have a lot of questions. You can mail it to us to MPRC and we'll make sure we'll forward it to our guests and they'll definitely get back to you. So yeah, thank you all for being a part of this deeply engaging and insightful panel discussion. To begin with, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Rufi for reminding us that digital accessibility must begin with a purpose.
Sharon ma'am, the way you reminded us that AI should never take away our ability to ask why truly made us reflect. Your emphasis on adding human depth was truly inspiring. Thank you so much.
A sincere thank you to Ms. Shalaka for your powerful reminder that clarity is what fuels motivation.
Ms. Pragati ma'am, your words and your work left us awestruck in a world where digital content is moving at lightning speed. The way you have engaged audience through your creativity in the media space is truly inspiring.
We are equally grateful to Ms. Apoorva for your candid and refreshing perspective. Your encouragement to make mistakes and learn through them was both honest and inspiring.
Ms. Pratishtha ma'am, we are deeply grateful for the way you spoke about using technology and AI as a enabler. Not a shortcut, it was really inspiring listening to you all. Thank you so much. Also, a special thank you to our moderator, whose warm, jolly energy and sharp, relevant questions kept the session flowing so effortlessly and made the conversation truly enjoyable.
We also express our sincere appreciation to our Chair, SPRC and Chief Administrative Officer, Colonel Upadhyay, and to our Dean Director, Kunal Ganguly sir. Now, I would like to request Kunal sir to please give a vote, thank you gift to our esteemed panelists.
I don't believe after such a wonderful discussion, no one is ready to listen to this boring professor. Nevertheless, it's my duty to thank each one of you. You know, it's basically a bright sunny day after outside today. But I think it's more bright inside the classroom because of the luminaries present here. You know, our students were mostly confined for IT consulting, BFSI, this kind of sector. Believe me, first time they got exposure to the area of entertainment, media, and related business. And you must have got a pulse that how much they are interested to work in this sort of field, right? So, as a dean, I am Kashipur. I expect you guys to come here again and assure on behalf of I am Kashipur, the carpet of I am Kashipur will always be red and warm for you. Thank you.
Taylor, can you please give away the gifts to our hall? So we would like to start with Mr. Apoorva. Ms. Shalaka. Mr. Upi. Mr. Deshmukh. Ms. Pragati. Cherryn. Last but not least, our moderator. Thank you so much, everyone. A big thank you to all the faculty members and the wonderfully engaged audience. Your presence, curiosity, and enthusiasm added immense value. And the entire NPRC team whose dedication and seamless coordination made it.
Thank you so much, everyone, to be here, the guests, the attendees. Yuktika was once just a dream, and now seeing it blooming like this makes me emotional. Thank you so much to CEO sir, team development sir, moderator sir, everyone in the campus, our external guests, to make this possible. And we look forward for next year and next year and next to next year to make this thing possible. To our juniors, invite us as alumni next year. And really look forward to invite you all back to the campus. Thank you so much.
Please come together for a group picture. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was wonderful. You enjoyed this campaign.